College is the most beautiful time of life, late-night parties, endless laughter, and unforgettable friendships. But for some, it becomes a nightmare from which they never wake up. It was a Friday night. The campus was alive with energy. Students roamed in groups, some heading to parties, others lost in their own world of books and late-night snacks. Ryan, Mia, Daniel, and Lisa sat together near the campus fountain, laughing, enjoying their weekend freedom. Then came the dare. "Let's do something thrilling tonight," Daniel suggested, a mischievous grin on his face. "Something we'll never forget." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "Like what?" Daniel leaned in, his voice barely above a whisper. "Westwood Hall." The name alone sent a chill down Lisa's spine. The others exchanged glances, half excited, half nervous. Everyone on campus had heard the stories, the disappearances, the whispers in the dark. Ryan chuckled, trying to mask his unease. "Come on, man, that place is just an old building. There's no such thing as ghosts." Mia, always the fearless one, smirked. "Fine. Let's prove it. One night in Westwood Hall. If we make it till dawn, we win." They shook hands, sealing their fate. And so, with flashlights in their bags and nerves of steel, or so they thought, the four friends set off toward the abandoned hostel. It started as a dare. Just a harmless game among friends. Ryan, Mia, Daniel, and Lisa were inseparable. College life was their playground, and they feared nothing, until that night. Their campus had an abandoned dormitory, Westwood Hall. It had been shut down for decades, and for good reason. Rumors swirled of students disappearing, of voices whispering in the halls when no one was there. No one dared to step inside. No one, except them. Lisa clutched her flashlight tightly as they entered. The air was thick, heavy, suffocating. The walls, once painted a warm shade of blue, were now cracked and peeling, revealing something darker beneath. "Did you hear that?" Mia whispered, her voice barely audible. The others brushed it off. It was just an old building settling, right? They moved deeper into the building, finding an old common room. Dust coated every surface, but one thing stood out, a message scrawled on the wall in faded red. "Leave before she wakes." Daniel laughed nervously, "It's just an old prank." But Lisa, she wasn't so sure. Her hands trembled as she felt something, an icy breath against the back of her neck. Then, the laughter stopped. Mia's face drained of color as she pointed to the far corner of the room. A shadow stood there. Tall. Motionless. Watching. Their flashlights flickered. The room felt smaller, like the walls were closing in. Then, the shadow moved. They ran. They didn't care where, just away. Their hearts pounded as footsteps chased them, echoing unnaturally, coming from all directions. But the door they entered from, was gone. Lisa sobbed. This isn't real, but it was. Something was there with them. Something old. Something hungry. Ryan turned, flashlight shaking in his grip. "We have to stick together," he said. But one by one, they vanished. First Mia, then Daniel, then Lisa, leaving Ryan alone in the suffocating dark. "It's your turn now." Ryan's breath hitched. His flashlight flickered wildly, and in its dim glow, he saw it, an old, cracked mirror on the far wall. But the reflection, it wasn't his. Instead, he saw a dark figure standing behind him. A woman. Pale, hollow-eyed, with a twisted grin stretching across her face. She reached out, and the mirror shattered. Ryan staggered back, heart hammering. Then, he saw it. A door at the end of the hallway. It hadn't been there before. It stood slightly ajar, a dim light spilling from within. Desperate, he stumbled toward it. But as he stepped inside, the light flickered out. And he heard a voice whisper behind him, so close, he could feel the breath against his ear. "Welcome home." The next morning, a janitor found Ryan's phone on the ground outside Westwood Hall. The screen was cracked, frozen on the last video he recorded. It showed Ryan, staring at the mirror. His reflection grinning back, even though he wasn't smiling. The university sealed off Westwood Hall that same day. But at night, students still hear the whispers, and some say, if you dare to look into a mirror on campus long enough, you might just see Ryan smiling back at you. The next morning, campus security found Westwood Hall's doors locked, as they always had been. No footprints. No clues. Ryan, Mia, Daniel, and Lisa were never seen again. But at night, if you stand near Westwood Hall, you can still hear their screams. Was it just a legend, or something far worse? Tell me in the comments, would you dare step inside Westwood Hall? And if you ever hear whispers in the dark, run before it's too late.